Hey guys, Ray from bailbondbidsnow.com. We've had a few questions, not many, but what if a loved one, hopefully they make bond, and after the fact they get sentenced? Is a 10-year sentence in prison really a 10-year sentence? Um, Somewhat, and it kind of depends. And I'll try to be real quick here. If your loved one, which is really not applicable for bail bonds in the sense, but if your loved one is in federal prison and they're given a 10-year, they actually do it by months, but they're given a 10-year sentence. Basically, if they're in a federal penitentiary, the Federal Bureau of Prisons, they'll get about 55, 58 days of credit, of good time credit every year out there. Sometimes if they do certain things, certain classes, they might get a little bit more, but give or take, it's kind of generally set to about that. So basically almost 2 months for every year. So for a 10-year sentence, you could almost take off 24 months if they have positive outcome and they're basically good behavior. Now, at the state level in the state of Texas for first, second, third degree felony, basically it depends. There's certain charges if they're considered violent offenses or if they have a prior felony or really vast criminal history. By law, they have to do at least 50%. So if it's a plea agreement or a jury sentences somebody to 10 years, that they'll have to do at least half. But those aside, long criminal history or certain violent offenses, serious violent offenses, they're eligible based on that criminal history. And they can do anywhere from 20% up to 80% of the actual imposed sentence. Somebody with no criminal history, a little bit of drugs, they weren't selling it, it was just possession, maybe one or two little nonviolent misdemeanors, on a 5-year sentence, they might do 12 months. Okay. If they have more, they might do 4 years of that 5 years. Now, also, there's another facility called state jail facilities, which are for state jail felonies that have a maximum sentence of 2 years. But these facilities are not Texas Department of Criminal Justice. They are actually contracted jails that make money by their contracts with the state. And it fluctuates, it changes all the time. They used to give basically 10% credit for good time if they behave. And it used to, then it got up to 30% if they took certain courses. But a lot of these facilities don't have those courses because it's a maximum of 2 years. So it fluctuates depending on politics, renegotiated contracts with the state and things like that. The good thing is, easy for me to say, but it's a max of 2 years. But there is a little bit of credit. It just fluctuates. Now, people get this confused with sometimes your loved one will get probation, but they have to go to safety, which is different. That's a contracted facility, still locked down, 9 months, 12 months, and it's to rehab, to get clean, to try to remove someone's addiction off of narcotics. And then after that, then they're released and they are continued on probation. So even though your loved one is in something called safety, substance abuse, felony program, something like that, remember, it's technically not prison, even though it is a lockdown facility. Now, just on another side, sometimes a loved one will get something called shock probation, where they're sent off to prison for 3 months or 4 months or 6 months, and the court will recall them back for a shock probation and then put them on probation. So once again, your loved one is in prison, but if they behave, they'll be recalled back after 4 or 6 months and be released on probation out there. And then finally, we're talking about jails. Jails are county jails operated by the county sheriffs, and these are only for misdemeanors in Texas. Class A, Class B, misdemeanors, technically Class C, but not really, out there. And this is managed by the local sheriff, the local government, the county, okay? And depending, sheriffs sometimes will break it up depending on the type of misdemeanors, that a violent misdemeanor or nonviolent misdemeanor. And for the most part, the sheriffs kind of run it. Some counties will give 4 days of credit for every one. Some will only give 25%, like a quarter day credit for everyone. It just depends. And it also depends on how packed that jail is. It also depends if that jail is actually run by that county or if that county contracts that out to a contracting jail management company. And that jail management company is entitled or guaranteed a certain amount of inmates. So money makes the world go round, unfortunately. So it just depends. Okay, if you have any questions, hit me up on bailbondbidsnow.com. Just recovering lawyer here. If your loved one needs a bail bond, you're free to put that information in one time and receive competitive blind bids from local bondsmen, hopefully giving better terms. Hope this helps. Bye-bye.